towards the middle of the river. So the cool thing about this nest here is she's in there, her tail is sticking out. But this is probably the oldest nest that's in this area. And we know this because of the old timers that live on the river. They tell us that the nest has been there since they've been here. Since they lived for up to 25 years. You rocking the boat? Are you rocking the boat?
Goodness.
You are? So the cool thing about these birds, remember I was telling you about, they fly south, they come back at separate times, without knowing where each other's going. This nest here, these birds will come back with day after time. It's amazing. Other nests we watch, we'll see one of the birds come back and then maybe a week later, sometimes 2 weeks, the other pair will show up and they'll start to nest. So I don't speak. So we can never figure this out. And it's like, how in the world do these birds know when to show up, especially these that show up so close to each other? So on one trip, a little girl, just like you, she told us the answer of how they know when they're going to show up. You know how they know? They tweet each other. I don't know about that yet. They tweet each other. We should have known that. All right. If you look straight ahead, especially when we turn this corner, you can see a black mark about 10 feet up along the bank. That's how high the water came up. And when we make this turn, you'll really be able to notice it. So this nest over here, this is really a cool story. You can see her head. It's on the short tree. She's in there. This nest here was back in the woods, maybe 50 feet back in the woods. I'm just keeping my eye on this guy here. I hope he slows down and doesn't throw us a big wake. Nice. There we go. Thank you, Captain. So this couple here, it's probably 2 miles from this nest back here, from the oldest nest on the river. So they came and built the nest into the woods. We saw them build the nest. And we were wondering about it because it was a very difficult nest to get into. The birds had to really do some acrobatics in order to fly into the nest. And we were wondering, well, how are their fledglings going to be able to manage this on their first flights? Well, we got the answer one day in May. A thunderstorm rolled through here, and they had 2 fledglings, and it took the nest right out of the tree. So they lost the nest, they lost their fledglings, and so they were out here flying around, and you could tell the difference in they were like forlorn. They were like this, and so they left early. So when they came back the following year, did you see a bird? Oh yeah, right up here. Yeah. Good eyes, guys. Good eyes. And again, the reason we know this is the male and that's the female because she's down in the nest and has been for the past week and a half. And she's not coming out of there. He's going to bring her food. She's going to sit until those eggs are fledglings. She's not coming off that nest. So you know that's the female, and this is the male. Because another bird's not going to be able to get close to that nest without that mate driving that bird off. So anyways, when they came back the following year, we noticed it's like they're starting to build a nest on this tree instead of back in the woods. We're like, wait a second, they're always building the same nest, the same tree. So we started hunting for answers. We finally found the answer. We called up a lady that was a bird specialist, especially in ospreys, and she said that was a frustration nest. That they were so frustrated with losing the original nest and their fledglings that they built that nest on another tree. And it just so happened it was really close. So when those babies start to fledge out and they're on top of the nest, we can really see them well. So you can really see this line, this dark line as we make this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about 10 feet up.
Damn.
So this area we're going into here is called Seven Prongs. Seven Prongs. The Indians named it that because there's 7 little prongs or 7 little creeks that shoot off from it. So another thing about these nests, when these guys come back in the springtime, another osprey behavior. The first thing they do is they'll take a look at the nest, they'll hang around, and then they got to start fixing the nest up. So winter storms, you know, the nests are kind of torn up, and so they've got to repair that nest before she'll lay eggs. But check this out. The male bird flies in. He'll come in with a stick, a piece of Spanish moss, whatever he's going to contribute to the nest.
Just dove in over there.
He'll place it. Then he'll take off to go get another stick. While he's gone, that female will grab that stick or that moss and throw it out of the nest, or put it back in a different spot every single time. She doesn't like that spot, but we know why. I mean, she's the one that's going to be sitting on that nest, raising those eggs or the babies. So she wants that nest the way she wants it, not the way he wants it. If it was the way we want it, you'd have a big screen TV in there. Barker lounger. So 7 prongs, and here's one of the little offshoots that's going to take off here to our right. It only goes back in there a few hundred yards and then it ends. It gets shallow back there. A lot of fishermen like to come back here and fish. The one thing is, you got to be careful going back through here because you can kind of see how the branches overhang. And this time of the year is when we start getting the snakes, the brown water snakes. And if you startle them, they'll drop off the tree and they'll fall in your boat.
Where are they, Mommy? Oh, Dad,
There's a turtle right here.
The yellow belly slider. We've only had that happen on this boat twice. But it only happens in the front 2 seats. This turtle will coming up on here. This is the full size adult. That's a big turtle for a yellow belly slider. I'm looking for snakes on these trees here because if we're going to see, this is a good spot for a yellow water snake. Not seeing one today though.
Say cheese.
There you go.
Oh.
That hole in this tree is, so we go by, that's a den. Sometimes they'll hang out in there.
That's turtles up there.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
The snakes are hard to find because they really blend in. Really blend in.
Little baby.
So I was telling you guys about how, you know, the rivers change, waterway changes. This tree wasn't here last year. There's a stump up there in the middle of it that wasn't here last year.
Alligator! Alligator!
Oh, yeah,
Alligator!
right in front of you, bud.
Yeah, I got
That's
it.
a good size alligator too. Good eyes, guys. Good eyes.
If you come over here, you can see him better. Thank you. See him? You see him?
Yeah, thank you.
Don't hit the man's arms. He's trying to get a picture. That's my first one I saw.
Good thing.
Why is that getting away?
So you guys are really fortunate that this time of the year, what's happening here, these guys are just coming out of brumation. So they're still not very mobile. A month from now, if we came like this, that alligator would be gone. Guaranteed. But right now, he's just like, oh, I'm cold, I'm just getting warm, the sun's out, I do not want to go back under the water and get cold again. So he's just going to sit there. And this is the biggest one I've seen in this area. Typically, we see smaller ones here, like 4-footers. And this guy is, looks to me about 5 or 6 foot. The way to measure, if you look at the tip of his nose, if you measure from the tip of his nose back to his eyes, and whatever that is in inches, if you take an inch to a foot, so if it was 6 inches, that's a 6-foot alligator, and that's about a 6-foot alligator. And we're going to see them on the river here, well, maybe not today, but they're here, 12, 13 footers. They're here. Of course, you got 2 more yellow belly sliders. Cool.
Yeah, they just sit there and don't move.
That's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He might start moving and might disappear, so if you guys want to grab a shot, now is the time to do it. Starting to move. He absolutely knows we're here. If he does move, he's going to make a pretty good splash. This is really unusual what you guys are seeing right here in the wild. In a zoo, this wouldn't be unusual. Out here, this is unusual.
Oh yeah.
Sticking up, he's a tiny baby.
What's that? He is. He's very hard to. And when they're in the water, hopefully we'll see one in the water. All you're going to see the tip of his nose and his eyeballs. They're really hard to spot. Let's play him a little goodbye song here.
How in the world they spot him?
Yeah.
So we'll keep our eyes open. We'll look back into the woods, up on the logs again. This is definitely where the smaller ones like to hang out. This grass that we're coming up on here on the left, back on the left side of that, there's some dark waxy looking leaves. That's water hyacinth. Water hyacinth. And it's actually a nuisance on the river. It's an invasive species. What happened was this stuff that was at the New York World's Fair, and a lady attended the fair and thought that stuff would be great for her pond. So she brought some home with her to put it in her pond with her fish. Well, the thing with water hyacinth is it grows fast, and as it's growing, it takes the nutrients and oxygen out of the water. It also does good things like remove pollutants, but it does remove the oxygen. So the first thing that died was her fish, and then the plant just started overtaking her pond. So she gathered it all up and threw it in the St. Johns River in Florida, and now they have a massive problem with it. Here it's not so bad. The stuff is free floating, so it'll float down the river in like 50, 70, 5, or 100 yards across, these big mats of them. And it's very difficult to kill. They haven't found anything to kill it. But whatever kills the stuff kills the fish. We're going to go into this little area over here and see if there's, we found a couple of babies over here before. But here in South Carolina, the only reason we don't have a huge problem with it is because of the winter. It dies off kind of in the winter, and it really slows down the growth. I'm not seeing anything in there, Michelle.
I didn't either. I didn't
Oh,
see it.
is that one right there?
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there it is.
The little one.
See right there.
Yeah.
Little one. Little baby. Yeah, just a baby.
And come back over here and see him.
So this is our baby. Well, I can't really call him a baby anymore.
Jack, you can go right here.
Here, right here. You can see him
He's
better that
about
way.
3 or 4 years
On
old.
this side.
Go up there.
3 feet, 4 foot.
Uh-huh.
You can see on his tail, he still has a yellow
see him?
stripes.
Jack, come here.
So
see
that
him better
indicates
that
that he's
way.
still a juvenile.
See him?
Oh, he is cute. Yeah, I don't want one of those.
Oh, he's moving.
Yeah. Let him move.
He goes, yeah, I know you're here. Gotta find a place to hide. See if he goes out a little water. If he goes into the water,
He wants us to throw marshmallows.
well, that's illegal. That's illegal. We can't do that here in South Carolina, which is a good thing, because what happens if people start feeding these things, we're going to talk about alligators a little later, but if people start feeding them, they become accustomed to humans, and then when they see a human, it looks like a food source, so they start coming towards them, and they're liable to bite. And then once they do that, then they're a nuisance alligator, and they've got to be put down. Come on, guy. There he goes.
He's coming to see you, Mom. He's coming to see you.
Cool. There he goes. So now you can see when he starts to get into the water, it gets really difficult
Yeah.
to spot. Awesome.
I see dragonflies.
All right, so the other thing in this area I want to point out is on this small little cypress tree here, and also the next tree up here on your right, you'll see some light green, mossy looking stuff hanging off the branches. Everybody see that? That light green, mossy looking stuff? Not the gray stuff, but the green stuff, light green. That's called old man's beard. Old man's beard. And so what happens if you guys are ever out in the woods camping or just trailblazing or whatever, and you come across this stuff, there's an osprey. If you come across it, gather it up, because if you get a cut or a scratch or a scrape on you, if you take this stuff and make a poultice out of it, it will help stop the bleeding, and also it's a natural, it has a natural antibiotic in it, so it'll stave off some of the infection. In the 1800s, people used to use this all the time. Matter of fact, they would take it and steep it with alcohol, and then drink it, and it will help up respiratory.
Something white.
The other thing, if you look back into the woods, this dead tree right here, there's a big ball
Yeah.
of green-looking, grassy-looking beach ball. Green, the green leaves there. You see that? The dark green leaves in this tree? Over here.
Wow.
That's mistletoe.
Yeah.
That's how mistletoe grows in the wild.
That's it.
And it's going to kill that tree. Eventually, it's going to kill that tree.
Yeah.
It's parasitic. And the grass that you see alongside of us,
Yeah, I saw him.
What is that?
Snake.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I saw it's like moss, some moss and stuff. Yes, it was a log.
falling over and the smell really sweet. If you travel down the along that highway, all these things, sweet water baskets, these ladies are weaving baskets. That's the grass that you put out and chop it down and carry it into strips.